Hello there. How's it going? I missed you. That's right. I'm talking to you. You know what I didn't miss? Bad superhero movies. There we go. So I watched Supergirl last night. Came out yesterday. Um, I caught the. I had to work pretty late. I had to work until around 7 last night, and so I decided to catch the hella late night showing. It was like 10 p.m. And I looked at my local movie theater, and like most of those show times, most of the theaters that were like showing it anyway, were like completely empty. When I bought the ticket yesterday, there were, I shit you not, three other seats taken in the whole fucking theater. And granted, it is 10 p.m. on a weeknight, so it's not like I expect a ton of people to be there. But like the other showtimes, when I was looking online earlier in the day, were like dead as fuck too. It could have been a backroom situation where like the day prior or whatever, like nobody bought tickets, and then like maybe earlier that day was like busy as shit. But like it was just dead as fuck. But for the first time ever, I actually wrote down brief talking points for the movie. Um, but I basically give it a solid 5 out of 10. It wasn't that good. A lot of the issues that I had with Superman were prevalent in this movie. Um, and it wasn't that good. Also, forgive me. I got like no sleep last night. I got like a good 4 hours, and then outside of that, I was like in and out for an hour. And like that was it. So I'm just really fucking tired today. So that might 100% reflect. But I wanted to like talk about it now while it's like fresh on my brain. Before I have to like get my day started. I'm gonna go for a run in a little bit, and hopefully that wakes me up. But okay, so I want to start with general overview of the movie, and then I'll get into some positives, some stuff I like really enjoyed about the movie, and then some stuff that I thought was like buns. Because most of this movie was buns. I'm gonna be so real. It wasn't that good. Like it wasn't a good movie. Basic premise of the movie, and I understand that this movie is an adaptation of a book, Wonder Woman, or Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And it's like follows the same plot, general plot from what I understand. I'm not like big on the DC comics. I've never really been a comic book guy. I never grew up with them, and so for me, it's never really been something that I've paid that much attention to. But again, I've always appreciated like the characters, and Supergirl for me growing up was like one of my favorite superheroes. Like so my favorite show growing up, I started watching it when I was like 11 when season 2 was airing, was The Flash. Damn, someone's dog is barking like hella in the hallway right now. But was the Flash, the CW's The Flash, and I also, subsequently the Arrow, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow. Growing up, when I was like 10 to 16, those were like some of my favorite shows ever. And now that I'm not dumb as fuck, those movies or those shows suck. Most of them are bad. Like the first season or two were pretty solid, but most of them are bad. Anyway, point being though, Supergirl was one of my favorite shows for a long time. Lissa, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I'm pretty sure it's Benoist or Benoist. I've heard both. Um, was one of my favorite actresses. Like she was incredible, and I thought the character of Supergirl is so fascinating because not like Superman in my mind has always been kind of an overrated character because he is just this guy who pulls up on this planet and he has to grapple with the oh hey buddy, he has to grapple with the idea of being like a good person in a world where there is so much evil, and he has like unlimited powers basically. Supergirl grew up on Krypton, and they changed from what I understand. She like grew up and spent a lot of her formative years on Krypton with her direct family, and then she witnessed the collapse of that and the death of those people. And then now she's on Earth, or she's now, I guess traveling through space, especially at least in this movie. Again, I'm not super familiar with comics, or whatever, but I think that's a much more interesting narrative to have a character who's trauma ridden, feels abandoned, doesn't know where home is anymore, and then learn to grapple with these unlimited powers and what is enough, right? So I've always like really appreciated the character, and I was pretty disappointed with the Superman movie. And I never, obviously, I wasn't like doing these at the time, so I never like made a video or whatever. But um, I was disappointed with that movie, and but I was still excited to see this movie because again, I've loved the character for so long. Like I really do appreciate like a lot of those original. I don't think DC the movies have been very good, and I'm not DC to me isn't as relevant as the MCU is, purely because the type of superheroes. But again, I've always really appreciated the character, and I was like, okay, not a massive fan. I really enjoy like I still enjoyed the Superman movie. I just think it was way too over like hyped. I don't think it was that good. So I was excited to see this movie, and I initially probably wasn't gonna see it, at least not for like a week or two, because I wasn't like that high on it. But last night I was like, you know what? I have some extra time. I really want to go see this movie. I am gonna go see this movie. Um, so 10 p.m. showing, caught it, and I wrote some notes. So, basic premise of the movie, this character Ruthie, she's on this planet that Supergirl is basically just like vegging out on for her birthday. She's having like the red sun or whatever kind of takes away all of her powers, and so she can get drunk as fuck. And so she's really depressed, and she's just binge drinking her birthday away, like it's been like a month or something like that, essentially, on this planet, because she can feel the effects of the alcohol. She can feel the effects of the, like, all this stuff, so she doesn't have to like deal with all of her baggage. And so there's this character Ruthie. Ooh, my arms are sore. This character Ruthie, there's this bad dude. I don't even remember his name. That's one of my huge negatives of this movie. This villain sucked. Um, but he basically pulls up on this girl's crib with so her mom and her dad and her older brother are there. And so then his dad apparently is like a famous swordsmith, maybe throughout some planet systems. Maybe it's just on this planet or whatever. But very famous swordsmith, makes some really like wonderful steel. It's their family work lineage thing, and he wants their swords. And so then this older brother doesn't really understand what's happening because he has like headphones on essentially, and he tries to scare his sister with Ruthie, one of the main characters, tries to scare her just in the hallway because he doesn't know that like this bad guy, like who's a well-known bad guy apparently, but like this bad dude is like actively got a battle axe on their table. So he tries to jump out of the room and scare his sister who's in the hallway. And so then the bad guy, I don't even remember Krem, I think is his name, like just hucks a battle axe at the son. Then the mom and the dad freak out, and so then he kills her parents and the brother in front of her, basically. And so then where she meets Supergirl is at this bar where Supergirl's drinking her life away, and she's like, listen, I need help on this quest. I'm gonna go kill this guy because he just murdered my family. And Supergirl is like really reluctant to she wasn't gonna help her. Which is an aspect of her character that I appreciate, but Supergirl wasn't initially going to help Ruthie until the bad guy just happened to show up right at her ship and like shoots Crypto with a poison dart. And that's it, before like taking off. Basically, he's murdered like every person he's come into contact with, and he just doesn't try to kill Supergirl or Ruthie. You know what I'm saying? And she literally shoots like a poison dart at Crypto as Crypto like lunges at the guy. And so then the plot of the movie then becomes, well, now Supergirl has to look after Ruthie while trying to go on a quest for this bad guy to get the antidote that's only available on his person. That's the only known available antidote for Crypto, basically. So she has to go after this guy because he poisoned her dog. And I think that's lame as fuck. I remember in the theater when I saw Crypto get poisoned, I was like, wow, this is lame. I was like, that's how we're telling this story with this, like, really? Anyway, so then the plot, yeah, obviously then becomes Ruthie and her. She doesn't want to, but she basically like becomes a mentor to Ruthie, and they're trying to make their way through the galaxies and star systems or whatever to like find Krem, I think, and like get the antidote back. Basically, Ruthie wants to kill him. She wants the antidote back for Crypto, basically, and she has this line at the beginning of the movie. Anyway, so like, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's the basic plot of the movie, right? One person wants revenge, the other person wants to save her dog. Both deeply traumatized, and like reacting differently to those to that trauma, basically. And it's all right. Like, it's not bad. right? Like I don't think like there's so much about this movie that's so surprising to me because it looks and feels really cheap. And some like the costume design is really cool, but like some of these aliens look bad. Some of the sets look bad. The dialogue on the for the most part is like really atrocious. And it's a shame because I think Mia Alcock as Supergirl is fucking incredible. Like she delivers the role really well. I think that I've seen a lot of criticisms on her being like a lead in this franchise is out of the question. I think that's ridiculous. Like I thought she did amazing playing the part. I think that the material that she was given sucked. Like that's the problem. I think that her material was that bad. Like that's just what she was dealt, you know? But like highlight, so first highlight is definitely like I think that the cast and crew was pretty good, except for the actress who plays Ruthie, bro. She sucked. Like she sucked, bro. Like and the villain was bad. But I'm gonna stick to highs. I'm gonna stick to highs for the most part. So I thought Mia Alcock was really good. I thought a lot of the cast was really good. And I thought that like most of the dialogue was really bad. So there are a couple of emotional scenes that I think my main I mean, I feel like I have to say this to get into my highs of the thing. So my main criticism of the movie, and the reason why I still enjoyed it, and I'm so I give it a 5 out of 10, and the reason that I'm giving it that high of a score is because the ideas in the movie are incredible. Like some of the stuff they set up, some of the parallels that they like briefly touch on in this movie are amazing. And I think that's like a lot of the movie could have been fucking amazing. The problem is every single opportunity they had to make it really good, they had done the movie so poorly overall that like those emotional moments that would have had really high payoff don't have that payoff because they just weren't like the rest of the movie just wasn't good. Like so for example, so the one thing that they do really well, I think, is the Krypton backstory. Essentially, how the planet blew up pretty like quickly, but Supergirl and her parents and a couple of the other people of Krypton managed to get into this like force field that kept the that section of the planet alive in space, and they lived there for about like 20-25 years or something like that. Because like Kara or Supergirl in the movie, she says that like she Krypton imploded basically, and then she was born 8 years after that on Argo, like the floating space city rock, basically. And it's really interesting because the way that backstory is presented is that the planet becoming so unstable and now being a rock has deep like unearthed another dog in the hallway has unearthed like deep oh hey buddy has unearthed like deep kryptonite, and it's been poisoning the people of Argo. And so her parents make the heartbreaking decision to send her to Earth to go be with her cousin, in order to preserve her life. And there's a couple of these really beautiful and incredible scenes where she's talking with her parents, and her parent, like her dad specifically, um, or her mom specifically, has this one line where her mom basically on her deathbed is saying like, hey, listen, you don't always have to be the toughest. You don't, or you can be tough. You don't have to always be the toughest. You can be tough. Um, you don't always have to be the nicest person, but be good, right? Like be good, be genuine, right? And then her dad kind of echoes the same sentiment where he's like, um, oh, what does he say? He says something like you're along the lines of you're going to this planet to help people, to be a source of inspiration, to like do good and you know what I mean, like do your part basically. And she has this really like wonderful line where she's like, I don't want to go, just let me die with you guys. Like I'm just one like measly life. And I think that that's a little bit strange of a like for dialogue to like say something like that, but I also understand she's grown up on this city planet. She knows nothing else, right? She doesn't really understand where her home is going to be outside of it. Her home is her family, it is her parents essentially. And I believe it's at her mother's funeral she finds Crypto at her mom's funeral. And so like that's where she gets this emotional attachment to the dog, but we don't learn that until like way later. In the movie, but essentially her dad is like, we're gonna send you to be with your cousin, be good, do good things. And she's like, well, like I'm just one life, why am I Like, why am I so important? Like, I don't understand. I'm just one life. And he has this brilliant and emotional dialogue where he's like, you are me and your mom. You are our souls like colliding, right? Like, you are the reason that we do all of this. We want you to carry on. You're carrying us with you as you go on. And I think that that's so beautiful. But like the rest of the movie doesn't impact that shit at all. And there's this one line where Ruthie and her, they have a big fight and they split up. They don't really split up, but like they're kind of separated for a bit. And then they kind of like, as she's dying, as Supergirl's like dying on this planet with a green sun, um Ruthie is like Ruthie's like, dude, listen, it's okay. I even forgive you. She says something like, she basically echoes that same sentiment, right? Where she had, I don't remember the first, it's like 4 lines. I don't remember the first two, but the first two were really good. And then she immediately follows up with, you're not always perfect, but you're good. And I think that that's such a beautiful emotional payoff. Like, to have that, like, her deep trauma is to be good for her parents, but she doesn't know where home is. It's not home with Clark. She doesn't understand the attachment to this one city because she just lost everything she's ever known. She's just like it's just such a beautiful line where she's like you're not perfect but you're good, and I'm like, wow, that would have been an amazing, that would have been an amazing fucking payoff if the rest of the movie didn't blow. Like, the villain has no backstory. He's not some emotionally like deep, like three-dimensional character. He's literally just evil for the sake of being evil. And this movie tries so hard to be so over the top silly and so over the top serious that like it just doesn't fucking work. That villain is so aggravating. Like, not because he's like a shitty person. I mean, he is a shitty person, but it's not because he's doing shit that like really harms the main character. Like, I don't give a shit about Crypto. Like, yeah, he's a dog, and like I love animals. I got my 2 babies right here. But it's like we have no emotional attachment to Crypto or Supergirl yet. And like the driving force of this movie is the fact that like, I mean, yeah, he did have a scene killing her parents or whatever, but there's no really good dialogue to make you feel really invested in these characters in this story, because this villain is just like over the top silly and goofy, and I was just like, man, like this is not like that. He's just not written well, in my opinion. And then, like, yeah, and then for the most part, there's so many of these like action sequence, and people, I saw a lot, like a big complaint being like, oh, this movie's so tropey. I think it's just the same as every like fucking DC movie ever. Like, Superman was hella tropey. If you disagree with that, you're legit on coke. You're huffing fumes. I don't know what to tell you. This movie isn't that different from that. I just think that there are certain lines in this movie that work less than Superman. Like, there's so many lines where she's like, "Oh, this is gonna suck," and then like fights, and you're like, okay, it's that kind of film. You know what I mean? And so like, yeah, like that's the suckiest part, is I feel like there was like, I left that theater, and one of the biggest notes that I have was quite literally that movie had so many wonderful ideas, so many really interesting and unique parallels, and like some stuff that could have been really fucking good. And it just wasn't. Like, everything could have been done better. But like, that's not to say that some of those emotional scenes were incredible. Like, the scene with her parents was incredible. Like, but the problem, and so I'll say that that leads me into the very like end, the end of the, hold on, I'm gonna take a sip. The end of the very climactic battle, right? Where so this is the very end of the movie, basically. So Supergirl um ends up like fighting a ton of dudes. Oh, and I saw a lot of people complain about the needle drop um song choice. I don't think the needle drop was like at a bad time or anything. I just think they picked a really shitty song to do. Quite frankly, like, I just thought the song choice that they had was buns. Um, but anyway, so it's the very end of the climactic fighting, and this fight was really cool. Seeing her do her thing, like be like super, like you had the really stereotypical shot of her with the sun rising out from all the dust and ashes, and it's cool. It's like overdone at this point, but it's really cool. Like, it's cool to see. And so then it comes time for Ruthie to, she has her dad's sword, her family blade, to his neck, and she's gonna kill him. And Supergirl is like, don't do this. That revenge is not gonna bring you joy. Like, I promise. Like, you don't want to be like me. Like, don't do this. And again, prime example of this complaint. That scene would have been a million times better had there been actual chemistry between the two of those on screen and better dialogue for the whole movie. Like that scene would have been, and again, it's an overplayed trope, but who gives a shit? If it's done well, it's done well. Like a lot of people love the tropes in Superman, the most recent one, because they're done well, right? I like agree and disagree, but like that's the point though. It's like for the most part, as long as the tropes are done well, freaking Star Wars has every trope in the fucking book, but they're done well. They're done really well, and that's like Andor. I'm gonna make a review on Andor, might even be right after this, but like Andor has a lot of tropes as well, but they're just done so fucking well. Like, holy shit. Like, they're amazing. So, the problem is, she's like, don't do that. Don't kill him. You don't want to you don't want to be like me. I've already crossed that line. Don't cross that line yourself. It doesn't get better. And I'm like, wow, I think that this would have had a much bigger payoff if one, that scene was longer because that dialogue lasts like 20 seconds and it's kind of stiff the way it's delivered. And I don't think that that's either of their fault necessarily. I think that that dialogue was just poorly fucking written. Um, and it's just a lot of stuff like that where it's like that could have had a really big emotional impact. That could have been a really beautiful, pivotal scene. And it's just not. And that's almost every scene in this movie. That's almost every scene in this movie. Wow, that could have been a really great scene. That could have been fucking awesome, but it's not. Like that's how I feel about this whole movie. Like the consensus basically is if it just had more time in the fucking oven, like if they just cook it longer, like if they sat on these ideas for a little bit longer and then like decided to execute them later, I think it would have been better. But yeah, the villain sucked, man. I hated that. A positive, Lobo was cool. I'm not super familiar on Lobo. I'm just not a big fan of characters like that where he's in the movie purely for just that like comedic relief, and he's just there. But I love Jason Momoa, so I don't know. But like that's my main I think thoughts on this movie is just that I think it's not like it's that bad, but it's like at every opportunity for it to be great, it was just like less than mediocre every single time. There were again a couple of the emotional scenes and a couple of the lines I was sitting there thinking about, and I was like, wow, what like a beautiful way to like have her character develop over time, right? And I'm like, you know what's crazy about that though? It didn't. Hey buddy, what are we eating? But like that's the thing is like it didn't like there's like oh my god. Oh my god. Like that's the sucky part, right? Is the more I think about it, it's like, yeah, that would have been really cool if it was done better. And that's kind of the whole movie. Um but again, like I think that her as Supergirl was a great choice. Like she was incredible. I think that like ugh, ugh. um yeah, that might be it. Um No, I mean like some of the emotional scenes were really good too, but just on the whole I was really disappointed. Um but I kind of heard that going into it, so I wasn't like completely thrown off guard being like, "Wow, this movie sucks." Like going into it I was kind of like, "Yeah, I heard this movie was not the best." So, but essentially I think that's about it. But yeah.